All right. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for coming out today. Glad you could make it out on this Tuesday morning, afternoon to come see what we have to say. We're really excited to announce a new major sports tenant here at K. Yeager Coliseum, and I've got a couple of people here behind me. They're going to talk to you a little bit more about it, and then we'll be glad to take some questions and hang around afterwards as well if you guys need to ask us anything. So I guess before we get any further, I'll introduce Mark Frankenfeld. He's the commissioner of the North American Hockey League. So he's got a little bit of an announcement for us. Thank you.
Well, hello everybody, and thanks for coming out today. Been in Wichita Falls before with teams over the course of the years, and just really excited to be back in Wichita Falls with the North American Hockey League product. Wichita Falls, as many of you guys know, have supported NAHL hockey for almost 15 years. And some teams that we've had here in the past with the Rustlers and the Wildcats have not only been very supportive and successful in the community in terms of all the different things that happens with a hockey team of our level in the community, but also the community and the product has produced over 100 NCAA commitments during that time period. And if you're following the North American Hockey League over that time, or if you're new to the North American Hockey League, we're 45 years in. We've been around for 45 years. We were a Michigan-based league of 12 teams up until about 1999, where we came down to the Texas Tornado came down to North Richland Hills, which is now the Lone Star Brahmas, which is a rival you guys are all familiar with. And now we've really grown down here in the South and overall. But ultimately, the league is, like I said, been around for a long period of time, but its number one mission and its number one goal is to develop these young men both on and off the ice to get to the point where they can play NCAA college hockey. So on the ice with all the training, all the games, all the experience, off the ice with all the things they do in the community, live with the billet families, give back to the community with volunteerism and helping out with the schools and all the different types of programs. It's all a really good mix of things that help our young men become great outside of hockey after they graduate from college, if they don't continue on with a professional career. One other thing that's really important about the North American Hockey League, it's been 3 years since we've had NAHL hockey in Wichita Falls, but every year we continue to exceed or break or increase our number of NCAA commitments. So even just this last year, in the last year's season, we had over 351 NCAA commitments, and about 70% of those are Division I, which come with the scholarships and all the good stuff like that. So even in the 3 years, we've increased our numbers from somewhere under the 300 number to the 325 to the 330 now to 350, and we're really excited. We're really excited about what's going to happen here in Wichita Falls to get back to being part of that mission to help promote and produce those players. The South Division, as I mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, some things that has changed. The South Division has changed a little bit since we've had a team in the league here in Wichita Falls. We've grown by 2 teams. One of the teams is in Shreveport, Louisiana, the Shreveport Mudbugs, and another team is in New Mexico, the New Mexico Ice Wolves. And so now the South Division is the largest division in the North American Hockey League, and that's not to say that the fans that are going to miss their old rivals with like Amarillo and Lone Star and Odessa, because all those folks are still here, so they'll be able to enjoy that too. So I think it'll be a good mix of a good variety of different teams to play and to compete against, not only for the fans, some folks you love to hate more than others, and then but also for the players to get a little bit different variety than playing in a smaller type division. I think that'll be good overall. Next thing I'll just touch on is the ownership. I've been working with the ownership of this team for over 2 years on a NAHL project, and when Wichita Falls came into the purview, it seemed like a really good fit. Some very good people that have actually had a chance to experience NAHL hockey as a parent, where their kids have already gone through and are going to go play Division I college hockey next year, and also as a fan where they're out watching local games in the Dallas area, whether it be the Texas Tornado when they were in existence or the Lone Star Brahmas, and also as a billet family. So they understand the North American Hockey League from a little bit different perspective to some degree than an owner that comes in and takes that large risk to give back to the sport and give back to the community. And I think some of the things that I found with them is they really want, they're really committed, and they really want this to be successful in the community. And a couple things that I'd like to touch on that kind of shows their commitment is, one, they've brought in Jason Rent, who's going to be the president of the team. He has a lot of experience in team operations. He's been with several teams in the South, some of the former professional teams and markets, some that still exist. He's been with a lot of startup teams. And even though we've had hockey here in Wichita Falls for almost 15 years at the NA level, this is a startup project, and so we couldn't have somebody more equipped to the task to reignite the community and reconnect with some of those folks and get this product launched so it can be successful from a business end. And then from the hockey perspective at this point, they don't have a coach hired to announce at this point, but I know all the candidates that they're engaged with right now are not only experienced coaches that have coached in this league, but also have had success in this league. And so right off the bat there, just from an ownership coming in and doing what they need to do to be successful, off the ice hiring an experienced person on the business side, and on the ice working through hiring an experienced person on the hockey side and experienced in the North American Hockey League is something that's very important to us in the process. Another step, as I understand and as I've been paying attention to through the application process, is that the ownership group is going to invest some money back into the community, into the facility. And it's interesting, over the course of the years, my office is in Dallas, Texas. I've done a lot of research on markets in the South, and there's a lot of former hockey markets and ice markets that no longer have ice plants. They don't have open skate, they don't have figure skating, they don't have learn to skate programs, they don't have any option whatsoever to play hockey. And as we look through different markets and different potential opportunities, it becomes really important that when you're looking at a market, they've got to have those capabilities. And we've got a wonderful facility next door, and my understanding, she's going to put a ton of resources into the ice plant, the cooling towers, and partner with you all on that. And I think that'll be not only good for, obviously imperative for NAHL hockey to return, but I think it'll be good for the community and all those folks that want to stay in the ice sports, and hopefully they can help continue to partner with you guys along those lines and develop more of those resources, more of those programs to keep hockey, keep ice sports, keep figure skating, learn to skate and all that stuff in play here in Wichita Falls. So I think, ultimately for my perspective, again, the North American Hockey League is pretty proud of who we've become. We're recognized very highly in the NHL, NCAA development world. We attract some of the best players at this age level, which is, the junior age 20 and under, and they're it's not youth hockey, it's amateur hockey. So these guys are young men, and if you've experienced a game in the past, it can be pretty exciting, pretty physical. And we just think this is another opportunity to restart something here in Wichita Falls, get back to where we were a few years back, where you had the community involved, you had the fans involved, and then come out and enjoy ice hockey. And we invite the community, we invite the fans, we invite everybody to participate, because I know you have a willing partner with Marianne and Jason and the ownership group to take this risk to bring hockey back here to Wichita Falls. So again, thank you very much for being here today, and I'll turn it over to Jason here for a bit, and then answer any questions at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. First, I want to make some thank yous. First of all, to Michael and his staff, the MPEC staff here, Connor, Mark. They've been exceptional. I've been in town a week. I've kind of been hiding, mostly from media people, so we keep this under wraps. But they've been exceptional and made the transition for myself a lot easier. I'd also like to thank the media for coming out today. And I'd like to thank the mayor for being here, who I've not met in person yet, but the city manager I have, and we've discussed things, and the council members also that are here. Thank you very much for coming out. It's a big deal. Before I start, Mary Ann, I have to apologize for her. Mary Ann had an unexpected surgery on Friday. She lives in Dallas, but she plans on spending a lot of time here in Wichita Falls, and it was very unexpected. She's recovering right now. I'm shocked. Once you get to know her, she's a very strong-willed person, and I thought she would maybe escape from the hospital to be here, but that didn't happen. So I apologize for that. I'm sure you'll meet her soon enough, but I wanted to just read a little statement from her. Years ago, hockey was a big part of Wichita Falls, and I want to bring that passion, energy, and hockey spirit back to the community and put Wichita Falls back on the hockey map. We have huge plans to create an exciting and fun game day atmosphere that is second to none, that all fans, young and old, will love. It is my hope that one day every person in the city of Wichita Falls will be proud of these players and even more proud to call this team their own. We want to help our players meet their potential and reach their goals each and every year. Have our players realize their goals of playing NCAA hockey and beyond is more than just about being talented on the ice. Having a strong tie to the Wichita Falls community will be the foundation of this organization, starting with the staff down to the players, and to have honor, pride, and respect for the city they are representing. These values will be exhibited both on and off the ice as a constant reminder to all those who see that we are a team that develops only the highest character with the strongest constitution. Together we can achieve great things, and I'm looking forward to building a culture of success and tradition of excellence. So I just wanted to read that for you. As Mark touched on, I'm very excited. I've done startups before, which we consider this. I've worked for many teams. My background is professional hockey. Up until a year and a half ago, I had the pleasure of going back to Shreveport, Louisiana, where I'd spent 8 years before in the pro game. And my first experience working in junior hockey has been this last year and a half, and it has been revitalizing for me personally, and I just love it. These kids are great to be around. The hockey is unbelievable. I hate to say it, but when we were in the pro game, the guys were kind of on their way down. They'd missed their chance to get to the National Hockey League, and they were kind of on their way down, but they were still very, very talented. These kids are on their way up, and it's 4 years from now, we'll see a player from Wichita Falls. You'll be watching, an NHL game and say, hey, I remember that kid, not only from watching him play in Wichita Falls, but meeting him in the community and seeing him out at my kid's school, or at some fundraiser for a charity. And that's the thing. We're not just bringing hockey to Wichita Falls. Like Mark said, we're making a capital investment into the building. Right now, technically, we can't play hockey here until those improvements are made. And we're not asking taxpayers to shell out anything. We're going to come in here. Mary Ann's putting up her own capital to help with those repairs, get those things done. And we've also, one of the things we've heard, we've been doing some research here. I think Shepherd is going to be very valuable to us. And one thing I've heard is a lot of the younger guys, they have no means of transportation. So we've talked to the city about and us putting the bill up for that on the nights of games, that we will run buses directly from base to the games and get the guys home before curfew. So, I mean, it's a different. I just came from Barksdale Air Force Base, which is about similar in size to Shepherd, and we had a lot of support from them. But most of those guys had transportation to get to the games. We're going to try to alleviate that problem for the airmen. The other thing too, with these improvements going to the building, I really believe it improves the quality of life for the citizens in Wichita Falls surrounding area. I mean, I know that open skates are very popular here. We have an opportunity to bring figure skating, learn to play hockey, hockey leagues, men's, adult leagues back into the mix. There's so many possibilities with having that ice in there. And that's, this is such a beautiful area here, this building and the area around it. We want people, the town to know, hey, this place is open for business and we're going to spend a lot of time here. So it's going to be affordable, family-friendly entertainment, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of work, and I'm sorry I hit on some of you guys that wanted to reach out over the last couple of weeks, but I wanted to wait till this day, and now I'll be open. Everyone here will be open to answer any questions if you have them now. So thank you very much. Bring a mic over. What's that? Yeah. Anyone have any questions for myself or Mark? Yeah.
Can you give us a timeline of when we can expect a coach to be introduced?
Sure.
When the first players will be joining the team and when the season will start?
Sure. Obviously, we are in talks already. We've been already talking to potential coaches, and not all the time, but a lot of the time, the great coaches, they're going to be working right now. So some of those guys that we're talking to are working, so it's going to be kind of tough to announce as quickly as we'd like to, but we are pretty confident that we're going to have someone decent in place. It could be till the spring before we announce it, but hopefully sooner than later. You want to add to that?
I'd just say in terms of the recruiting season, the cycle, you've got a team without a roster, so they're going to want to work on, getting started with the scouting staff. And as my understanding is, they'll have scouting staff in place even prior to maybe them having an opportunity to have a coach hired. That scout will then work through our ways that we can acquire players through tenders, which is kind of a contract to play in our league, but it's not necessarily a contract, but it's kind of like it, building up to the draft. And then they'll also start analyzing and evaluating other veteran players, because ultimately they're going to want to acquire 6 to 8 veteran players that have played junior hockey, get some of the better younger talent in and stuff like that. So I think, as he's mentioned, whether their coach is currently working or not, when they finalize them, the candidates I'm aware of are very qualified, very experienced in our league. But if they get the scouting staff and structure in place, they'll be in good shape, at least for the competitiveness on the ice.
The next season starts in September. That's when this team will.
Correct. We'll be kicking off in September. Just in the really near future, what will be coming out in the next couple of days is we're going to have a name the team contest, and it's going to be done online, and get some feedback from people. We've got some really neat prizes, I think, for lined up that we're going to give away for whoever helps name the team. And we want this the kind of thing where we want the community to be involved in this and feel proud about it. So that's going to happen very shortly on our website as we get going here in the next couple of days.
Just to expand on that in terms of scheduling and planning on that, typically scheduling process will start in the April-May area, and by June we should be able to launch a schedule for the following year. Again, not too dissimilar than the almost 15 years that we were here, but that would be your plan if you're looking at schedule outside of other team announcements and stuff like that. The league's going through a process right now of season getting underway, just coming off of a great event in Sochi, Russia. We took a prospects team out there, competed internationally. We just had our NAHL showcase in Blaine, Minnesota, over 350 scouts there. Absolute unbelievable event. Now we kind of slow it down where the teams play games locally in their communities, and then that prepares us for our top prospect event, which is out in Boston, Massachusetts, where we take all of our uncommitted players and our NHL draft age guys, and we put them in front of the NCAA. We put them in front of the NHL for another chance for them to get looked at. And then we conclude our season with our Robertson Cup Championship, which will be at Fogarty Arena in Blaine, Minnesota, which is the division champ of each of the 4 divisions. So it's there's a lot involved on the hockey side, and that's why for us it's really important for us that they get a scouting staff in place and get a good quality experienced coach in there. But in terms of national exposure for the players in our league, we're almost second to none. And then with the international event we now go to Sochi with, it just creates a whole different element for the players that are entrusted to us in the North American Hockey League to do the best we can for them to have the best opportunity to move on into college.
There's talk about how the players are going to be involved in the community as well. In the early days of hockey here, part of the success was that kids were here for 2 or 3 years. In more recent years, they've shuttled in and out, and you don't even get the chance to know any of these kids. Is that going to be a priority, that kids are brought here in the hopes that they can maintain them for more than just one season or a half a season?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, go.
I was going to say, the times have changed and evolved quite a bit, and one of the things that we've done recently, the North American Hockey League, we've upped our relationship with USA Hockey, and we've upped our relationship with the USHL. And so in the United States, there's the Tier 1 league, which is the USHL, and there's a Tier 2 league, which is the NAHL. There's no other Tier 1 or Tier 2 league in the country. And so what our goal is, our common goal is players are playing at the right level for what's best for their development. And so sometimes that means we'll have a player for a year. Sometimes that means we have a player for 3 years. Sometimes it might be better for that player that's only with us for a year to stay, but other forces that be, maybe they move on to college, or maybe they move on to the USHL. And the same with the USHL, we're seeing more and more players coming back. So in some of the model, and maybe even some of the kind of pro mentality that was around here over the course of time, where there's a player there, he's a fan favorite over the course of time, that's changed a little bit, but we want folks to buy in. We want folks to understand, so they can buy into, we want these players playing in the best spot for them to develop so they can achieve the highest level. So it's all individual specific on how that happens. But, you'll see a lot of players stick around because they're being treated well and they're on a path without having to move, but you'll still see players that'll move from time to time. I'm sorry.
And just to add to that, from my experience in Shreveport the last year and a half, you see it, you're right. I mean, it's not like the pro days where a guy can be in a market for 10 years and he becomes almost a brand in that market. You've got kids that are more or less going to be there 2 or 3 years. But I think the biggest difference, and I noticed, is the community involvement. There's more community involvement than we ever used to have, so that people do get to know them. And it is unfortunate they have to move on, but it's good that they move on too. And like I said, these guys are on their way up, so people can follow them. Now this kid's, he came from Wichita Falls, now he's playing for Michigan, D1, and now he's playing in NHL for Detroit Red Wings or wherever it may be. So yeah, the shelf life's a little shorter, but they still, the amount of times that they get out in the community is far greater than what I'm used to.
Last thing I would just say on that, our research on our performance numbers of the NCAA, 5, 6, 8 years ago, about 6 players a year were moving on per team, and now it's over 13. And so another factor is you're going to see guys moving on because about half the team turns over to the NCAA now too. So it's kind of really, I think Jason hit it right on the head there. It's the game's different. The players are better. They're moving faster, and they're moving up, and that's a good thing.